Welcome back to our Ask the Vet series. We're talking today from Companion Animal Vets in Dapto. We're talking about mushrooms. So we've all noticed, I'm sure in our area, I'm not sure around, we've had a lot of rain here, and we've noticed that we're showing growing mushrooms. So in my front yard I've got lawn, and suddenly we're noticing these little mushrooms growing up everywhere, and we've got them in our backyard as well. We're seeing them on the side of the road. We even had them in our little grass area at the back of the clinic. We noticed them, we thought they were rubbish, and then went out and found out they were mushrooms. So we thought we'd better just put it out there and remind everybody that mushrooms can be really dangerous. So I've had a bit of a research, and as far as I can find out, there are very, very few people in the world who know what are safe mushrooms and what aren't safe mushrooms. And these guys are called mycologists. And so they're the people who know, they deal with fungi and mushrooms all the time, and they're the people to know the right thing. For all of us plebs out there who aren't the fun guys, then, sorry Lockie, that was a really bad joke. Lockie's face just dropped, sorry. It is very, very hard to tell the safe mushrooms from the unsafe mushrooms. So I know we've got, I've got friends on farms and stuff that go out and pick their own mushrooms. I just can't recommend it. But unfortunately, often the unsafe mushrooms, the poisonous mushrooms, have really good smells to them. I've heard that the death cap mushrooms, which are the really nasty ones, they actually can smell a bit fishy and a bit off sort of smell. Perfect for dogs, they love that off smell. So it's actually even more attractive to your dog than the safe mushrooms. So it's really important. I think what it all comes down to is, if you're seeing mushrooms in your yard, you're seeing them in your lawn, get out, pick them out, get them out of there so that they're not attractive to your dogs and your cats. It is hard to get rid of them, so if you know they're there, keep going out every day and picking them and getting them out of there and getting them into your green waste bin. Now, signs to look for if you're concerned that your dog has eaten a mushroom, or if you've actually seen them do it, the safest thing you can do is get them to the vet clinic before they're showing any signs and get them to be made to vomit. So we can use an emetic agent that makes them be sick. If we then see bits of mushroom in their vomit, we can then know that they've eaten it, and that we can then go ahead with a plan of what we're going to do afterwards. Symptoms to look for if you haven't actually seen them happen, or if you've seen them and you're watching and seeing what's going to happen. The main signs tend to be gastrointestinal, so that means they vomit, they get diarrhea. They're the simplest sort of reaction. The next level of reaction, unfortunately, is liver failure. And so what happens with liver failure, they'll go off their food, vomit and diarrhea, but in the long term they can actually get jaundice. So that jaundice is the yellow coloration. In dogs and cats, we actually see it, so in the white part of the eye can start to look a bit yellow, their gums can look a bit orange. White dogs and white cats can look a bit yellow in their skin. The problem is if you wait until the jaundice is happening, that your dogs are actually, or your pet's really, really sick by that point. So we're not wanting to wait to that stage. If you have unexplained vomiting and diarrhea in your dog or in your puppy or your cat, that you know that you've got mushrooms around and there's a risk that they've eaten them, then certainly get them to the vet clinic as soon as you can. We can also see sometimes neurological signs. Unfortunately, the whole psychedelic mushroom thing is that it can have neurological effects. So that means it affects their brain. And so we can sometimes see seizuring in dogs. It's not reported as often as the gastro signs and the liver failure, but obviously that's, again, a sign that we don't want to get to. We don't want to wait until that happens. You need to get them treated early. If we don't have an antitoxin, we don't have something that we can give your pet and say, okay, they'll be fine, but at least we can make them vomit, get as much out of the system as we can. We can give them medications that can help absorb the medications going through their system. We can even do flushes out both ends if we need to, and get them on supportive care to help protect their liver and kidney function and so forth, so that hopefully that they improve. Lockie's got a question for us.
So from Jackie Willits, my dog once stole meat from my plate and had a mushroom sauce on it and maybe a little bit of fried mushroom. Should I be concerned about that?
No, Jack. In fact, they're safe mushrooms. So if mushrooms are safe for us to eat, then they're safe for your pets. So normal mushrooms, totally fine. Sorry, I should have made that clear. It's a good question. Normal, safe mushrooms, edible mushrooms, totally okay for dogs. Obviously, it's not meat, so it's not their favourite food, but if it's got some sauce and stuff, I'd be more concerned about onions and things and garlic in that meal rather than the mushrooms. I'm talking about the wild mushrooms that are growing in the ground. And the classic ones are the death caps, and the problem is that they can look just like field mushrooms or mushrooms that are edible. I'll get my English working here. So it's very hard to tell the difference. So store-bought, safe cap mushrooms that you buy from the supermarket, they're not an issue. We're not worried about poisoning with those. So it's the wild ones that are growing through our lawns that we're worrying about at the moment. So good question, good clarification point there. So yeah, I hope that's answered that question. But yeah, still need to be careful with onion and garlic and those sorts of things in those foods that you're feeding off your plate. So mind you, if they're stealing them, you just have to be a bit more be aware of that. But yes, so if you're having any concerns, if you have the mushrooms and you're wanting to know whether they're dangerous or not, you can certainly try and take them to the plant, to nurseries around the place and see if anyone can identify them for you there. There is identification tables on computers. But yeah, the mycologists are the ones that will really know if it's safe or not for you. I think the safest thing to say is just don't eat them yourselves, obviously, but don't let your dogs and cats eat them if you can avoid it. And because those death caps can have that fishy smell and fishy flavour, I guess we can't rule out the fact that a cat might eat them as well. So if you're concerned about anything, don't hesitate to give us a call, send us messages, any questions you like. And if you are really concerned that they've eaten a mushroom, try and get to your vet as quickly as possible so they can make them vomit and avoid, at least minimise those effects of these nasty things. Okay, have a good week. We'll see you next week. If you want us to cover any topics or any questions, don't hesitate to send in some messages or give us a call. Thanks. See you later.